How much did this dream team meeting actually cost this client? I did this video yesterday. It's popping off all about Deloitte making their employees work Saturday for this, smaller MMA client. That's one lady at her kid's birthday party. Apparently she has no one to help her through this, but Deloitte is here to help her. Okay. Yes, of course, we need to talk about the fact that they don't treat their employees with boundaries and they make them work Saturday, and there's 7 of them. But more importantly, I want you to really have a clear foundation of how much something like this engagement costs. And that's where really the ridiculousness of this falls in. Any big consulting partner firm is absolutely thrilled to bill you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people on a call on Saturday. But what kind of merger requires support? Are we talking about merging like 2 Fortune 50 companies, which it doesn't really seem like that because there's only one client involved? Or are we talking about merging like 2 HVAC companies in Ohio? Okay, that's what I want you to see here. This is the play. Okay, they stack the grid and then bill it at a blended $300 an hour. Any consultancy firm is usually going to start that associate consultant at 200-ish per hour. Then we go up to consultant, that's more in the 230, senior consultant, 300, manager, 350, etc. Right? All the way up to partner principal, that can be over 1,000. I will give them the benefit of the doubt, saying that if we average all of these rates on this call, we'll say it's about $250 an hour, right? That's being very kind. So if we have 7 people at $250 an hour, we're looking at $1,750 for just this call an hour. If we round it to $300 an hour, which is way more likely, we're talking about over $2,000 an hour for the dream team. Now let's zoom out a little bit. What type of merger requires this type of mini task force? Obviously, by this ad, we see Deloitte trying to push into more mid-market transactions, right? They're more on complex carve-outs, cross-border deals, operational due diligence and integration work. That's more of where they typically have an engagement. But what type of enterprise would be able to afford this? Because it is an enterprise, right? So we would be looking at the low end of $100 million to about $1 billion. Mid-market MMAs engagements typically run on the low end about $500K to easily $3 million in advisory fees when you work with a firm this size. I'll meet you right in the middle of my first example. We'll say the team averages $275 an hour, okay? And so if that's 7 people on the dream team that bill 40 hours a week for 12 weeks, that is almost to $1 million. It's $924,000. Now stretch that into 6 months and you're well into the 7 figures. A 7-person crisis team, like they're playing out in this commercial, would only ever make sense if the deal size is large enough, right? Which wouldn't be one person in the backyard on the client side, right? At her 9-year-old's birthday party. Or if the risk of, I would even say the risk exposure or the reputation was crazy material on the impact of the valuation. If we're talking about, which it looks like to me in this, a mid-market acquisition from a privately held company, we're probably talking about a $25 million at even a high end. We're looking at something like limited regulatory complexity, definitely less of an integration footprint, very little public scrutiny, nobody cares, right? At that size, margin matters, okay? Spending $750K to $1 million across due diligence and integration advisory services, that's a real percentage of your deal. 4% plus before we even talk about financing costs, legals, system work, whatever else. Now, if this is a $500 million public scrutiny integration, that's a totally different level. But it's, again, I'm assuming here, typically not in a mom in a backyard at her 9-year-old's birthday party on a Saturday. It would be a group of people, okay? The message I want to get across to you is Deloitte is cringe city, obviously, but this doesn't just happen in mergers and acquisitions. It happens in technology implementations, in support retainers, in AI slop agents that they're trying to sell you. You get sold this dream team that is going to change your business and be there to support you at all hours of the night or on Saturdays. And that's a blended cost of $300 an hour. That's a lot, you guys, for not a lot of work. Even at the most multi-million dollar, multi-international ERP implementations, 7 people is insane. This business model is not built around support or the gifting of the dream team, right? It's built around creating more leverage in your business for them to get more work. That's why we see these colossal failures, because they act like they're showing up as your hero while you're not computing that this is $2,000 an hour if it's just junior people on your call. And let me just tell you one thing. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Hiring the dream team is not a flex. Becoming your own dream team and not needing them, that's the flex.